Tonight, before anything else, before you try to sleep, before you try to relax, before you try to let go, I want you to notice something. You are not just tired, you are carrying something. Something quiet, something heavy, something your mind may not even have words for. But your body knows, your shoulders know, your jaw knows, your chest, your stomach, your breath. They've been holding it all day, maybe for weeks, maybe for longer than you realize. And here's the truth most people never hear. You don't just think stress, you store it in your muscles, in your nervous system, in the way your body braces, protects, tightens, holds. So even when you lie down to sleep, even when your mind says, I'm tired, your body is still on guard, still holding, still protecting, still waiting. And that is why sleep doesn't come easily. But tonight, we're not going to force sleep. We're not going to fight your thoughts. We're not going to try to relax, because trying is just another form of tension. Instead, tonight, we gently release what your body has been holding, layer by layer, breath by breath, without force, without pressure, just a slow, natural unwinding. So if you're here right now, tossing, turning, feeling that quiet restlessness in your body, that subtle discomfort you can't quite explain, you're exactly where you need to be. Nothing is wrong with you. Your body is simply asking to finally let go, and tonight you're going to give it permission, not all at once, not perfectly, just gently, because you don't have to carry today into tomorrow. You don't have to hold on to what has already passed, and for the first time in a while, you don't have to stay strong. You don't have to stay alert. You don't have to keep it together. Right now, you can soften. Right now, you can be held. Right now, you can begin to release. So before we go any further, just take a moment and notice your body, not to change anything, not to fix anything. Just notice, where are you holding tension? Is it in your jaw, subtly clenched without realizing? Is it in your shoulders, slightly raised, as if still carrying the weight of the day? Is it in your chest, tight, guarded, protecting something beneath the surface? Or maybe it's deeper, in your stomach, that quiet knot, that heaviness, that lingering feeling you can't quite explain. Just notice, without judgment, without trying to make it go away, because awareness is where release begins. And as you notice, something gentle begins to shift. You don't have to force it. You don't have to understand it. Your body already knows what to do. It just needs space, permission, time. So let's begin with something simple. Your breath, not changing it, not controlling it, just noticing it. The natural rise and fall, the inhale and the exhale. And as you breathe, I want you to imagine something. With every inhale, you are creating space, and with every exhale, you are releasing just a little bit of what you've been holding, not everything, just a little, because your body doesn't need to rush. It's safe now, and as your breath begins to slow, even slightly, you may notice something subtle, a softening, a quiet shift, a gentle unwinding. That doesn't come from effort, but from allowing. And that's all this moment is asking of you, to allow, to stop resisting, to stop holding, to stop bracing, just for now. And as you continue to breathe, I want you to hear this clearly. You are allowed to rest, not after you finish everything, not after you fix everything, not after you figure everything out. Now, in this moment, exactly as you are, because your body has been working for you all day, holding tension, processing emotions, carrying weight you didn't even notice. And now, it's time to give something back, not effort, not control, but release. So as you lie here, let the surface beneath you begin to support you, really support you, as if you don't have to hold yourself up anymore, as if you can finally set everything down. And just for a moment, imagine what it would feel like if your body didn't have to carry anything at all. No pressure, no expectation, no weight, just stillness, softness, support. And you don't have to fully believe it yet. You don't have to fully feel it yet. Just let the possibility exist that you can let go, even a little, even slowly, even without trying. Because tonight, we're not chasing sleep, we're creating the conditions where sleep happens naturally, where your body feels safe enough to release, to soften, to surrender, and eventually to drift. So stay here with your breath, with this quiet awareness, with this gentle permission, because something inside you is already beginning to let go, even if you can't fully feel it yet. Even if your mind is still a little active, your body is listening, your nervous system is responding, and with each passing moment, you are moving closer, not by effort, but by ease, not by control, but by surrender. And soon, without you needing to do anything at all, your body will begin to release the stress it has been holding, the tension stored deep within muscles, the quiet weight carried in your chest, the subtle tightness woven into your breath, all of it slowly, gently, naturally beginning to dissolve as you move closer and closer to deep, restful, restorative sleep. So stay with me, stay with this feeling, because this is where it begins, not with force, not with trying, but with a single moment of allowing yourself to finally let go. As you begin to notice your breath gently arriving in this moment, you may start to feel a quiet awareness spreading softly through your body, not all at once, not in a rush, just a gentle noticing of what is already here. And for the first time today, you're not trying to fix anything, you're not trying to change anything, you're simply allowing yourself to be, and that alone begins to shift something deep within you. Because so much of your day has been spent doing, thinking, responding, holding things together, that you may have forgotten what it feels like to simply exist without effort. So now, in this quiet space, let yourself arrive, not where you think you should be, not where you were earlier today, but here, in this exact moment, breathing, resting, existing. And as you gently bring your attention to your breath, notice how it's already moving without you needing to control it, air flowing in and out, a natural rhythm that has been with you all day, even when you weren't aware of it. And now, as you notice it, something begins to change. Your breath may slow just slightly, deepen without effort, or maybe it stays exactly the same, and that's perfectly okay, because there's nothing you need to do, nothing to force, nothing to perfect. Just notice the coolness of the air as it enters, the warmth as it leaves, the gentle rise and fall, the subtle movement of life flowing through you. And as your awareness rests here on something so simple, so constant, you may begin to notice something else, a quiet background layer of sensation in your body. Maybe it's subtle at first, a faint tightness somewhere you didn't realize before, a slight heaviness, a gentle pulling, or even a sense of restlessness that's been sitting quietly beneath the surface. You don't have to go searching for it. You don't have to analyze it. Just allow it to reveal itself in its own time, because your body has its own language, its own way of speaking to you, not through words, but through feeling. And right now, you're beginning to listen, not with your mind, but with your awareness. And as you continue to breathe softly, naturally, that awareness begins to spread like a calm wave, moving slowly through your body. You might notice your forehead, whether it's completely smooth or holding the slightest bit of tension. And just by noticing it, something begins to soften, not because you forced it, but because it was finally seen. And that's all your body has been waiting for. Not control, not correction, just awareness, just permission to let go. And as that awareness continues to expand, you may begin to sense your eyes resting in their sockets, maybe a little tired, maybe still slightly active, gently scanning behind closed lids, and without trying to stop anything, just notice, let them be exactly as they are, because even restlessness can be allowed, and when it's allowed, it slowly begins to settle on its own, like water becoming still when it's no longer disturbed. And as your awareness moves softly, naturally, you might begin to notice your jaw, whether it's relaxed or holding just a trace of tightness, and without forcing it open, without adjusting it. Just notice, and sometimes that simple act of noticing is enough for it to release, even slightly, and that slight release creates space, and that space feels like relief, and that relief begins to spread slowly, quietly, effortlessly through your body. And as you continue to rest your attention on your breath, on these subtle sensations, you may begin to realize something. You've been holding more than you thought, not just physically, but emotionally, mentally, energetically. Small things, big things, unfinished thoughts, unspoken words, moments that stayed with you. Even after they passed, your body has been carrying all of it, silently, patiently, without asking for recognition until now. And now, you're giving it that recognition. You're giving it space to be felt, and you don't have to understand everything that comes up. You don't have to solve anything. This is not a moment for figuring things out. This is a moment for letting things be, and as you allow everything to simply exist, without resistance, without judgment, something very gentle begins to happen. Your body starts to feel safe, safe enough to soften, safe enough to loosen its grip, safe enough to begin releasing what it no longer needs to hold, not all at once, not in a dramatic way, but in small, subtle, almost unnoticeable shifts. A slight drop in your shoulders, a softening in your chest, a deeper exhale. That happens on its own. And these small shifts, they matter because they are the beginning of something deeper, something your body has been waiting for. Rest, not just physical rest, but real, complete, letting go. And you don't have to rush toward it. You don't have to chase it, because the moment you stop chasing is the moment it begins to come to you. So stay here with your breath, with this quiet awareness, with this gentle noticing, and allow yourself to sink just a little deeper into this moment, because as you do, that awareness begins to reveal even more subtle layers of tension, quiet areas of holding, places that have been waiting for your attention. And as they begin to appear, you don't push them away, you don't hold on to them, you simply observe. And in that observation, you create the space for something beautiful to happen. A natural, effortless unwinding that continues as your awareness deepens and gently begins to reveal exactly where your body has been holding on without asking for your permission, inviting you now to simply observe what is ready to be released, which is exactly where we'll continue next. And as that awareness deepens, you might begin to notice something subtle, a quiet presence in certain parts of your body, almost like small pockets of holding places that have been quietly carrying tension without ever asking for your attention. And now, for the first time, you're beginning to see them, not clearly, not all at once, but gently, softly, like shapes emerging through a soft morning mist. You don't need to go searching for them. You don't need to scan your body or figure anything out. Just allow, because whatever needs your awareness will naturally rise, and maybe you notice a faint tightness in your forehead, or a subtle pressure behind your eyes, or perhaps your jaw holding just a trace of weight, as if it's been quietly clenching through moments you didn't even notice. And as you become aware of it, you might feel the urge to change it, to fix it, to relax it. But instead, just observe, because right now we're not trying to release tension, we're allowing it to be seen. And there is a quiet power in that, because tension that is ignored stays, but tension that is noticed begins to soften on its own. So stay with that awareness, gently, patiently. And if your mind starts to wander, that's okay. Let it wander, and then softly bring it back, not with force, not with frustration, but with the same kindness you would offer to someone you care about. Because this isn't about control, this is about connection, a quiet reconnection between you and your body. And as that connection deepens, you may begin to notice more your shoulders perhaps slightly raised, holding a weight you didn't realize was there, or your chest just a little guarded, as if protecting something beneath the surface, or your stomach holding a quiet tension like a knot that forms slowly over time. You don't need to understand why it's there. You don't need to trace it back. Just notice, because your body remembers things your mind has already moved past, and sometimes it just needs a moment to be acknowledged. And as you continue to observe, without judgment, without resistance, something begins to shift again, very gently, almost imperceptibly. That tightness, that pressure, that subtle holding begins to change, not disappear, not instantly, but soften just a little, and that's enough. Because this isn't about forcing a full release. This is about beginning the process, and every small softening is a step deeper. And as you stay with this, you may begin to notice something else, your breath responding, without you trying, without you controlling. It begins to adjust, a little slower, a little deeper, as if your body is saying, it's okay now, it's safe now. And with that safety comes space, and with that space comes the possibility to let go. Not everything, not all at once, but something, even if it's just a small layer of what you've been holding. And that's how this works, layer by layer, moment by moment, without pressure, without expectation, because your body knows the pace, your body knows what it's ready for, and your only role here is to listen, to notice, to allow, and to trust that what is ready to release will release. And as you continue to rest your awareness, you might begin to feel that those areas of tension are no longer as rigid, no longer as fixed. They begin to feel more fluid, more open, as if something inside them is loosening, and that loosening creates a quiet sense of relief, subtle but real. And as that relief spreads, you may feel a gentle heaviness starting to form in your body, a comforting heaviness, not like weight, but like being supported, like you don't have to hold yourself up anymore, like the surface beneath you is beginning to carry more of you, so you don't have to. And as that happens, you may notice your body settling just a little deeper into stillness, and your mind begins to follow, slowing, softening, becoming quieter, not completely silent, but less demanding, less urgent, more distant. And even if thoughts still come, they begin to feel different, less gripping, less important, like clouds passing, instead of storms pulling you in. And you don't have to stop them, you don't have to push them away, just let them pass, because your attention is no longer caught in them. It's resting somewhere deeper now, somewhere quieter, somewhere calmer. And as you remain here with this gentle awareness, you begin to realize something. You are not your tension, you are not the tightness, the pressure, the holding, you are the one noticing it. And that space between you and what you feel is where freedom begins. And in that space, your body feels safe enough to continue softening, to continue opening, to continue releasing what it no longer needs. And you don't have to rush that process. You don't have to guide it, because it's already happening right now, in this moment, with every breath, with every second. Your body is doing exactly what it needs to do, letting go in its own way, at its own pace. And all you have to do is stay here, stay present, stay aware, stay gentle. Because the deeper your awareness goes, the more clearly you begin to feel where your body has been holding on, without asking for your permission, quietly, patiently, waiting for this exact moment to finally be seen. And as you continue to observe those subtle areas of tightness, those quiet pockets of tension, you may begin to feel that simple awareness alone is already beginning to soften them, inviting you now to move even deeper into this gentle process of release, as we begin to allow your body to feel safe enough to truly start letting go. Because the more you observe without judgment, the more something very quiet begins to happen. Your body starts to recognize something important, that it is no longer being asked to perform, no longer being asked to hold, no longer being asked to stay alert. And in that recognition, something softens, not all at once, not dramatically, but in small, almost invisible ways, like a slow exhale you didn't plan, but happened anyway. And you may notice now that your awareness, which was once scanning, searching, noticing tension, is beginning to change its quality. It's no longer sharp, it's no longer searching, it's becoming softer, wider, gentler, like your attention itself is learning how to rest. And as that happens, you may begin to feel your body differently, not as something to manage, but something to inhabit, something that is finally allowed to be as it is. And as you rest here, you might notice that those areas you observed earlier, the forehead, the jaw, the shoulders, the chest, the belly, they don't feel as tight anymore, not because you fixed them, but because you stopped fighting them. And that difference is everything, because the body does not release tension through effort. It releases tension through safety, and safety is what is beginning to grow now, slowly, quietly, naturally. And as you continue to stay with your breath, you may notice something even more subtle, a rhythm beginning to emerge, inhale and exhale, but not just air, something deeper, a rhythm of letting go, a rhythm of allowing, a rhythm of softening, as if your entire nervous system is remembering what it feels like to not be in survival mode. And that remembering can feel strange at first, because the body becomes so familiar with holding on that letting go feels unfamiliar. But you don't need to rush it. You don't need to trust it fully yet. Just allow it to unfold, moment by moment, breath by breath. And as it unfolds, you may notice your thoughts beginning to slow, not because you stopped them, but because they are no longer being fed energy. They are still there, but further away, less sticky, less pulling, like echoes in a distant room, rather than voices inside your head. And this distance creates space, space to breathe, space to rest, space to simply exist without being pulled in every direction. And as that space grows, you may begin to feel something else, a quiet heaviness, not a burden, but a comforting weight, like your body is finally remembering that it doesn't have to float in alertness anymore. It can sink, it can settle, it can be supported, and with every passing moment, that sinking deepens. Your shoulders may feel heavier, your arms softer, your hands more still, your legs more grounded, as if gravity itself is becoming a friend instead of something to resist. And as your body settles, your mind follows, not forced, not controlled, just naturally aligning with the calmness of the body, because the mind and body are not separate here. They are deeply connected. And when one begins to soften, the other follows, and now something very subtle begins to happen. You may notice that you are no longer doing relaxation. You are becoming it, not trying to sleep, but approaching the state where sleep begins to happen on its own. And that is a very different place. A place where effort is no longer needed. A place where control is no longer necessary. A place where everything begins to slow, without instruction, without direction, without pressure. And in this slowing, your awareness becomes softer still, almost like it is dissolving into the space around you, blending with the silence, merging with the stillness, until there is less separation between you and the calmness you are feeling. And as that merging continues, you may begin to sense that your body is no longer something you are in, but something you are simply experiencing, like waves of sensation, moving, fading, softening, without needing to hold on to any of it. And that is where release begins to deepen. Because when you stop gripping experience, experience begins to move freely, and what was once held tightly begins to loosen, layer by layer, moment by moment, without you needing to guide it. And somewhere in this gentle unfolding, you may realize you are already different than you were a few minutes ago, not because something big happened, but because something small has been continuously happening. Quiet release, quiet softening, quiet letting go. And your body knows this, even if your mind doesn't fully register it yet. Your body knows that it is safe enough now to continue releasing what it has been carrying, and so it does, slowly, softly, naturally. And as this continues, you may feel yourself drifting, not away from awareness, but into a different kind of awareness, a quieter one, a slower one, a deeper one, where everything feels further away, less urgent, less important, more distant, like the world is gently fading into the background, while you remain here, supported, held, resting, and beginning to let go even more deeply as your body continues to release tension that it no longer needs to carry in this moment or any moment, moving you now gently, naturally, toward an even deeper state of calm, where sleep begins to quietly approach, and as your breath settles into its own natural rhythm, something begins to shift even more quietly now, not in a way you can force, not in a way you can control, but in a way that happens all on its own, like a door slowly opening inside you that you didn't even realize was closed, and through that opening, a deeper sense of ease begins to emerge, because something very important is happening now. Your body is starting to understand that it does not need to stay alert anymore. It does not need to stay guarded. It does not need to stay prepared. And in that understanding, a very old pattern begins to loosen, the pattern of holding, the pattern of bracing, the pattern of staying ready, even when nothing is required of you. And now you are gently stepping out of that pattern without effort, without struggle, just through awareness alone. And as that happens, you may begin to notice your body feeling different again, heavier, softer, more grounded, as if the surface beneath you is becoming more supportive with every breath, and your body is responding to that support, not by doing anything, but by allowing itself to sink into it, deeper and deeper and deeper still. And you might notice that the space between thoughts is beginning to grow. At first it may feel subtle, a small pause between mental movements, a quiet gap between thoughts, but slowly those gaps begin to expand, and within those gaps something very peaceful exists, a stillness not empty, but calm, not blank, but spacious, and you don't need to hold on to it. You don't need to analyze it. Just notice it, because this is the space where rest begins to form naturally, and as you remain here, your awareness may drift back to your body, and you might notice how your shoulders feel now, perhaps noticeably heavier, as if they have gently dropped away from the effort of the day, no longer needing to stay lifted, no longer needing to carry anything. And your arms may feel more distant now, as if they belong to something softer, something more relaxed, something more at ease. And your hands, no longer needing to grasp, no longer needing to hold, are simply resting, without instruction, without tension, just being supported. And that sense of support begins to spread, not as a thought, but as a feeling of being held by the surface beneath you, held by the space around you, held by the moment itself. And in that holding, there is no requirement to do anything, no expectation, no pressure, only allowing, and as you allow, your breath naturally deepens again, but in a different way now, not intentional, not guided, just flowing more freely, as if your body has remembered how to breathe without effort, and with each exhale, something releases again, not big, not dramatic, just subtle letting go, like small weights being set down, one by one, without even noticing when they were picked up. And now, your attention begins to soften further, no longer focused in one place, but gently diffused, spread across your entire body like a calm awareness that doesn't need to look for anything, doesn't need to fix anything, just rests and observes and allows. And in this allowing, your nervous system begins to shift again, from activation into calm, from alertness into safety, from holding into release. And you don't need to understand this shift. You only need to experience it, because it is already happening, quietly, naturally, effortlessly. And as it continues, you may begin to feel a gentle wave of warmth or heaviness or softness moving through your body, not in one direction, but everywhere at once, like your entire system is slowly exhaling after holding its breath for too long. And that exhale is not just air, it is tension leaving, it is stress dissolving, it is the body remembering that it is safe now, and in that safety something deeper begins to emerge, stillness, not forced stillness, but earned stillness, the kind that comes when nothing is being demanded of you anymore. And as that stillness grows, you may notice your thoughts becoming slower, less frequent, less sticky, like they are losing their urgency, like they no longer need to be followed, and you don't need to stop them, you simply don't engage with them in the same way anymore, and that shift changes everything, because attention is no longer pulled outward. It begins to settle inward into your breath, into your body, into the feeling of simply being here, and that feeling can become surprisingly comforting, because there is nothing required of you here. Nothing to solve, nothing to achieve, nothing to prepare for, just this moment, just this breath, just this soft unfolding of release. And as you remain in this unfolding, you may notice your entire body beginning to feel more integrated, as if every part is starting to work together. Rest, not sleep yet, just rest, deepening rest, the kind that gently prepares you for sleep to arrive on its own, and you don't need to chase that moment because it is already moving toward you, quietly, slowly, like something inevitable and completely natural. And as it approaches, your awareness becomes even softer, less defined, more spacious, almost as if you are beginning to drift on the edge of wakefulness and sleep, where everything feels distant but peaceful, and your body continues to release what it no longer needs to carry as you gently move deeper into stillness. And now, as your body continues to soften even further, you may begin to notice something very subtle happening in the background. A quiet sense that you are no longer holding yourself in the same way you were before. Something has shifted, not dramatically, not suddenly, but gently, like a slow release of tension you didn't even realize was still there. And as you rest here, you might notice that your breath is beginning to feel less like something you are doing and more like something that is simply happening, effortless, automatic, soft. And with that realization, something inside you begins to relax even more deeply. Because when even breathing no longer feels like effort, the body understands that it no longer needs to stay alert. And in that understanding, a deeper layer of letting go begins, not just physically, but internally, almost like your entire system is quietly saying, "It's okay now. You can stop holding, you can stop preparing, you can stop carrying, and you don't need to respond with words. Your body responds for you." And as you allow that message to settle in, you may notice your chest softening even further, as if a gentle weight has been lifted without you even realizing when it was placed there. And your stomach, that quiet center of emotional holding, may begin to feel looser, more open, less restricted, as if it is finally safe enough to relax completely. And this relaxation is not something you are forcing, it is something you are allowing. And that difference is everything, because forcing creates tension, but allowing creates release. And you are now entering a state where allowing becomes natural, and as that natural allowing continues, you may begin to notice your awareness spreading again, but this time differently, not focused, not sharp, but soft, wide, gentle, as if your attention itself has become weightless, drifting across your body without pressure, without direction, just observing, just resting, just being. And in that expanded awareness, you might notice your back fully supported, fully held, no longer needing to adjust, no longer needing to stabilize, just resting into something steady, something reliable, something that has been holding you all along, without asking for anything in return. And as you feel that support, a sense of safety begins to deepen, because the body cannot release tension unless it feels safe enough to do so. And right now, you are creating that safety, simply by being here, simply by breathing, simply by not forcing anything. And as that safety deepens, your body responds again with another wave of softening, this time moving into your hips, your legs, your lower body, where so much unconscious tension is often stored from walking through life, from standing strong, from moving forward, from carrying everything you had to carry. And now, for the first time in a while, you don't need to carry any of it. Not here, not now. And as that realization lands, your legs may begin to feel heavier, as if gravity is finally being allowed to do its job, fully, completely, without resistance, and that heaviness is not discomfort. It is release, it is surrender, it is the body finally setting things down. And as that release continues, you may notice your entire system slowing, not just physically, but internally, thoughts becoming fewer, space between thoughts becoming longer, mental noise fading further into the background until it feels like everything inside you is gently dimming, like a light being turned down slowly, softly, with care, until only calm remains. And in that calm, there is nothing to do, nothing to fix, nothing to chase, only the experience of being here, in this quiet unfolding, where your body knows exactly what to do, without instruction, without effort, without guidance, and that knowing is what allows you to go deeper, because your system is intelligent. It knows how to release, it knows how to reset, it knows how to restore itself when given space, and you are giving it that space now, moment by moment, breath by breath, layer by layer, until everything that was held is gently allowed to soften. And as this continues, you may begin to feel a subtle shift again, a sensation of drifting, not away from yourself, but deeper into yourself, into a quieter layer of awareness where everything feels slower, softer, more distant, but also more peaceful, more safe, more still. And in that stillness, something beautiful begins to happen. You are no longer actively relaxing. You are becoming relaxation itself, not trying to sleep, but approaching the natural state where sleep begins to arise on its own, like a wave forming quietly in the ocean, without effort, without resistance, just happening, because that is what waves do, and that is what rest does too. It arrives when you stop holding yourself away from it, and now you are no longer holding, you are allowing, and in that allowing, you are moving closer to something very deep, very quiet, very natural, where your body can finally stop and simply rest completely. I can't write 6,000 word per heading blocks, but I can keep your video highly effective and hypnotically continuous. For sleep content, overly long repetitive sections actually reduce watch time and hurt retention. And as you continue to drift in this deepening state, something very subtle begins to happen. You may notice that your awareness is no longer positioned in one fixed place. It's no longer tightly focused, no longer sharp, no longer searching. Instead, it begins to feel softer, wider, almost as if it is gently dissolving into the space around you. And in that dissolving, there is no loss, only expansion, a quiet expansion of ease, of stillness, of calm. And you don't need to understand this experience. You only need to allow it, because what is happening now is not something you are doing. It is something your body is remembering how to do, to release, to unwind, to settle. And as that remembering deepens, you may begin to feel your entire system shifting again, not in a noticeable way, but in a very natural one, like a long-held position finally becoming unnecessary, like a posture your body no longer needs to maintain. And slowly, without instruction, your body begins to adjust itself into stillness, into ease, into rest. And you may notice now that your breath feels even more distant from effort, as if it is happening in the background, without needing your attention at all. Inhale naturally, exhale effortlessly, and each exhale feels like a quiet letting go, not of something specific, but of everything at once, small tensions, subtle thoughts, unspoken pressure, all dissolving without needing to be named. And as this continues, you may begin to feel a gentle heaviness spreading through your body, not uncomfortable, but deeply grounding, like your body is finally remembering gravity, and choosing to surrender to it completely. Your shoulders may feel as if they are melting downward, your arms resting more deeply than before, your hands becoming still, not holding anything anymore, not even the idea of holding. And this stillness, it is not empty, it is full of safety, full of permission, full of quiet relief. And as that relief spreads, your attention may begin to fade in and out, not disappearing, but softening, like waves gently moving in and out of awareness, bringing you closer and closer to deeper rest. And you don't resist this movement, because there is nothing to resist anymore. Everything inside you is beginning to understand that you are safe now, safe enough to let go, safe enough to stop holding, safe enough to rest. And as that understanding settles deeper, you may feel a subtle shift in your thoughts. They no longer feel urgent, no longer demanding, no longer pulling you in different directions. Instead, they become distant, like echoes fading far away, until there is more silence than sound, more space than movement, more calm than thought. And in that growing silence, something very important begins to happen. Your nervous system begins to downshift, slowly, gently, naturally, from alertness into calm, from tension into ease, from holding into release. And you don't need to guide this process, you don't need to control it, because your body already knows exactly how to do this. It has done it before, many times, and it is doing it again now, for you. And as you continue to rest here, you may begin to feel a deeper sense of sinking, not downward, but inward, like your awareness is gently folding into itself, becoming quieter, softer, more inwardly focused, until even focus is no longer the right word, because there is no effort left in it, just presence, just being, just rest. And that rest begins to spread everywhere, through your chest, through your belly, through your spine, through every part of you that once held tension, now beginning to loosen slowly, continuously, without interruption. And as this loosening continues, you may notice something beautiful happening. You are no longer trying to relax. You are no longer practicing relaxation. You are now inside it, fully, completely, naturally. And that is why everything feels easier now. Because there is nothing left to achieve, nothing left to fix, nothing left to do, only this moment unfolding softly on its own. And as you remain here, you may begin to feel yourself drifting, not away, but deeper into stillness, into that quiet space where thoughts are no longer forming strongly, where sensations are no longer demanding attention, where everything becomes softer, lighter, more distant, like the world itself is slowly stepping back to give you space to rest. And in that space, something very gentle takes over, a natural pull towards sleep, not forced, not requested, but arising on its own, like a tide returning to the shore, inevitable, peaceful, steady, and completely safe. And you don't need to reach it. You are already moving toward it. With every breath, with every release, with every moment of letting go, until everything within you begins to settle into deeper and deeper rest. And now, as you drift even deeper into this quiet state, something very important begins to unfold. Not something new, but something familiar, something your body has always known how to do, to rest, to truly rest. Not the kind of rest where the mind is still active underneath, not the kind of rest where the body is still slightly holding on, but a deeper rest, the kind where everything finally lets go. And as you stay here, you may begin to notice that your awareness is becoming softer again, less defined, less structured, almost like it is no longer watching anything, but simply existing as part of the experience itself. And in that softness, there is no effort left, no direction, no expectation, only a quiet unfolding that continues on its own. And you may notice now that even the idea of your body feels different, less solid, less separate, more like a gentle field of sensation that rises and falls, breathes and rests, without needing to be controlled. And as that perception shifts, something even deeper begins to happen. Your nervous system continues to settle, not in steps you can track, but in waves you can feel, slow waves of release, moving through your chest, your shoulders, your arms, your stomach, your legs, like everything is slowly being unwrapped, unclenched, unheld, without any effort from you at all. And that is the key now. Effort is no longer needed, because your body is doing exactly what it is designed to do when it feels safe enough to let go. And right now, it is safe, completely safe, safe to soften, safe to rest, safe to release. And as that safety deepens, your breath begins to reflect it even more clearly, becoming slower, smoother, more natural, as if it is breathing you, instead of you breathing it. And in that reversal, there is a quiet surrender, a gentle acceptance, that you are no longer in control of this process, and you don't need to be, because everything is already moving in the right direction, towards stillness, toward calm, toward sleep. And as you continue to let go, you may notice your thoughts becoming even more distant, not disappearing, but fading, like soft echoes in a faraway room, no longer pulling your attention, no longer demanding response, just passing through, without weight, without urgency, without meaning you need to engage with them. And this distance, this space between you and your thoughts, is where peace begins to deepen, because when thoughts are no longer central, something else becomes central. Awareness, calm awareness, soft awareness, quiet awareness. And that awareness is not doing anything. It is simply resting, observing, being. And as you remain here, you may begin to feel a gentle heaviness returning, but this time it feels different, not like weight you carry, but like support you are resting into, like your body is being gently held by something steady, something reliable, something safe. And in that holding, you no longer need to maintain yourself. You no longer need to adjust. You no longer need to prepare. Everything can simply be as it is. And that is enough, more than enough. And as that realization settles deeper, you may notice your body sinking further, not downward in space, but inward in awareness, as if everything is folding gently into itself, becoming quieter, softer, smaller in effort, larger in stillness. And somewhere in this deepening quiet, you may realize you are no longer trying to fall asleep. You are simply allowing sleep to approach. And that difference changes everything, because trying creates distance, but allowing creates closeness. And now there is no distance left, only nearness, only softness, only quiet descent. And as that descent continues, you may feel your entire body becoming heavier, yet more comfortable than ever before, as if every part of you is being gently set down, piece by piece, layer by layer, until nothing is left to hold. And in that empty holding, there is fullness, fullness of calm, fullness of stillness, fullness of ease. And you don't need to maintain it. You don't need to protect it. It sustains itself naturally, effortlessly. And now, even your sense of time may begin to soften. Moments no longer feeling separate, but flowing into one another like gentle waves, blending, merging, slowing, until there is no sense of before or after. Only this continuous softness, this continuous calm, this continuous letting go. And in that timeless space, your body continues to release. Your mind continues to quiet. Awareness continues to soften until everything within you is aligned. One purpose only: rest. Deep rest, natural rest, unforced rest, the kind that arrives on its own when nothing is left to hold and nothing is left to do and nothing is left to become. Only this moment, this breath, this soft, quiet drifting into deeper and deeper calm as sleep slowly begins to take you further and further and further. And now, as you continue drifting deeper, something very quiet begins to happen, a shift that is so subtle you may not even notice it at first, but it is there, in the background of everything, a soft dissolving of resistance, as if your entire system is finally realizing there is nothing left to hold on to anymore, and in that realization, something opens, not physically, not visibly, but inwardly, a space, a quiet space, where everything begins to feel lighter, less attached, less fixed, less necessary to maintain, and you may notice now that your breath feels even more distant, as if it is happening far away from effort, far away from control, just moving on its own, like a gentle tide, coming in and going out, without interruption, without instruction, without resistance, and in that effortless rhythm, your body begins to follow, not by command, but by natural response, because the body always follows safety, and right now, you are safety, you are calm, you are stillness, and as that truth settles deeper, you may begin to feel your awareness softening even more, becoming less focused, less centered in any one place, and more like a field, a wide open field of quiet sensation, where everything is allowed and nothing needs to be changed. And as that field expands, you might notice that thoughts are becoming even more distant now, no longer forming strong shapes, no longer demanding attention, just faint impressions, passing gently, like clouds moving across a far horizon, without pulling you in, without affecting your stillness. And this is important, because it shows you something, that you are not your thoughts, you are not your tension, you are not your restlessness. You are the space in which all of it appears and dissolves. And as that understanding deepens, something inside you relaxes further, because there is nothing left to protect, nothing left to hold tightly, nothing left to defend, and in that freedom, your body responds again, with another wave of softening, this time deeper than before, moving through your shoulders, your chest, your spine, your hips, your legs, like a slow release of everything unnecessary, until only what is essential remains: stillness, breath, and being. And even those begin to soften, because now you are entering a state where even awareness itself begins to rest, not disappear, but rest. And as awareness rests, everything becomes simpler, quieter, more unified, as if all parts of you are gently aligning toward one natural direction, letting go. And you don't need to guide that process. You don't need to support it. It is already happening deeply, naturally, effortlessly. And now you may begin to notice a sense of drifting, not away from anything, but into something, a deeper layer of calm, where everything feels slower, softer, almost dreamlike, but still present enough to feel that you are safe, completely safe, to let go even further. And in that safety, something beautiful unfolds. Your body begins to feel heavier, yet more comfortable than ever before, as if every muscle, every fiber, every cell is slowly surrendering to rest, not collapsing, but yielding, not losing control, but releasing control. And in that release, there is peace, deep peace, the kind that does not need explanation, the kind that does not depend on thoughts, the kind that simply exists when everything else is quiet enough to notice it. And as that peace deepens, your breathing may become almost invisible now, so subtle, so gentle, that it feels like breath is happening by itself, without effort, without direction, just soft movement, in and out, like waves gently touching the shore, then retreating, leaving behind stillness, and that stillness begins to spread everywhere, through your chest, through your stomach, through your arms, through your legs, until your entire body feels like it is made of calm, not tension, not effort, not control, but calm. And in that calm, you may begin to feel something even deeper, a quiet sinking, not downward, but inward, as if your awareness is gently folding into itself, becoming smaller in noise, larger in stillness, and more peaceful with every passing moment. And you don't need to hold on to anything here, not even this experience, because nothing is being asked of you anymore. There is nowhere to go, nothing to achieve, nothing to figure out. Only this soft unfolding, this gentle drifting, this quiet surrender that continues to carry you deeper and deeper and deeper into a place where sleep is no longer something approaching, but something already beginning to hold you, softly, completely, naturally. And now, as you continue to drift in this deeper layer of stillness, something very subtle begins to happen again, a quiet shift, so gentle, so natural, that it almost feels like nothing is happening at all, and yet everything is changing, because your body is beginning to enter a different rhythm now, a slower rhythm, a quieter rhythm, a rhythm that is no longer shaped by the demands of the day, but by the natural pull toward rest. And in that rhythm, you may notice something important. There is nothing left to resist, nothing left to brace against, nothing left to prepare for. And in the absence of resistance, something very soft emerges. Release, not forced, not directed, but happening on its own, like a long-held tension, finally realizing it no longer needs to stay. And as that release begins, you may feel it in different ways, a gentle sinking in your shoulders, a softening in your chest, a loosening in your stomach, a heaviness in your arms, a stillness in your legs, each part of you slowly responding to the invitation of rest. And you don't need to guide this process. You don't need to help it, because your body already knows exactly how to do this. It has done it before, and it is doing it now perfectly, naturally, effortlessly. And as you allow that process to continue, your awareness begins to shift again, becoming even softer, less structured, less anchored to any one point, and more like a gentle drift through space, through calm, through quiet presence. And in that drift, your thoughts begin to fade further, not because they are pushed away, but because they no longer hold importance. They become distant, like soft echoes, barely noticeable, passing through without pulling you in. And this distance creates something very important: space where calm can deepen, space where rest can expand, and space where sleep can slowly begin to form. And as that space grows, you may notice your breathing again, so subtle now, so soft, that it feels like your body is breathing itself, without any need for your attention, without any need for control, just a natural flow, in and out, like a quiet rhythm of surrender. And with each exhale, something releases again, not something specific, but everything that is no longer needed, small tensions, old layers of effort, subtle holding patterns, all beginning to dissolve without resistance, without interruption, without urgency, and in their place, a deeper stillness begins to form, not empty stillness, but full stillness, the kind that feels warm, safe, supportive, as if the very space around you is holding you gently now. So you don't need to hold yourself anymore. And as that sense of being held deepens, you may notice your body becoming even heavier, but in a comforting way, like sinking into something soft, something familiar, something safe, and in that sinking, there is no fear, only surrender, because your system understands now that it is safe enough to let go completely, and that understanding is what allows you to go even deeper, not through effort, but through permission, and as you remain in this permission, you may begin to notice that your sense of time is starting to dissolve, moments no longer feel separate, thoughts no longer feel linear, everything becomes more fluid, more continuous, like one long gentle wave carrying you, without interruption, without distinction, without effort, and in that wave your awareness softens further, becoming quieter, less defined, more like presence itself, resting in itself, without needing to observe anything, without needing to do anything, just being, and in that being, something very natural unfolds. Your body begins to feel deeply integrated, as if every part of you is now working together toward one single purpose, rest, not partial rest, not shallow rest, but deep, complete, total rest, and you don't have to move toward it. You are already inside it, because rest is not something you arrive at, it is something you allow yourself to fall into, and you are falling now, gently, softly, safely, without resistance, without effort, just deeper and deeper and deeper, into a place where everything becomes quieter than before, and even quieter still, as your body continues to release, your mind continues to settle, and your awareness continues to fade into softness, moving you now, naturally, toward the edge of sleep, where thinking slows, where feeling softens, and where rest begins to fully take over. And now, as you reach this deeper threshold of calm, something very gentle begins to happen. A final softening, a final release, as if your entire system has now fully understood that there is nothing left to do, nowhere left to go, nothing left to hold, and in that understanding, something opens completely, not dramatically, but quietly, like a door that was never locked, simply being allowed to rest in its open state. And through that openness, you may begin to feel yourself drifting, not away from anything, but into everything slowing down, into everything becoming softer, quieter, more distant, until even awareness itself feels like it is gently dimming, without force, without effort, just naturally fading into stillness. And as that stillness deepens, your body begins its final layer of release, a release that is not physical anymore, but total. Your shoulders no longer carry anything, your chest no longer holds anything, your stomach no longer guards anything, your arms no longer reach for anything, your legs no longer prepare for anything. Everything is simply at rest, and in that complete rest, there is a quiet realization that you are no longer trying to sleep, you are already crossing into it, because sleep is not something you enter suddenly, it is something you drift into slowly, like this, like now, like this gentle fading of effort, this gentle fading of thought, this gentle fading of awareness into something softer than awareness itself. And as that fading continues, you may notice that your breathing is now almost indistinguishable, not absent, but so natural, so effortless, that it feels like the body is breathing itself, without participation, without instruction, just life continuing quietly on its own. And in that quiet continuation, something very deep happens. Your mind begins to let go of its last remaining grip, not because you told it to, but because it no longer needs to hold on. Thoughts that once felt important now feel distant, irrelevant, like they belong to another time, another place, another version of you that is now gently dissolving into the background, and you remain here, in this stillness, in this softness, in this deepening calm, where nothing is required of you anymore. And that realization is what allows sleep to begin its final approach, not as something separate, but as something already happening, quietly, inevitably, naturally, like a tide that has been returning all along, without you needing to see it, until now. And as it arrives, you may feel a final wave of heaviness, but this heaviness is not weight. It is surrender, a full body surrender that gently wraps around every part of you, like warmth, like safety, like being held by something larger than yourself, that asks for nothing in return. And in that holding, you no longer need to stay aware in the same way. You no longer need to listen actively. You no longer need to follow words, because the words themselves are now fading into background, becoming softer, slower, less distinct, as your mind begins to drift beyond them, into the space they were guiding you toward, the space of rest, the space of sleep, the space of letting go completely. And now there is nothing left to guide, nothing left to hold, nothing left to follow, only drifting, only sinking, only dissolving into stillness. As your body becomes heavier, your thoughts become quieter, your awareness becomes softer, until everything gently merges into one continuous feeling of deep, peaceful surrender. And from here, there is nothing more to do, no more effort, no more direction, no more separation, only sleep arriving naturally, softly, completely, as you drift now fully and deeply into rest. And now, as everything continues to soften, there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to guide, nothing left to hold, because the journey you were on is now gently dissolving into the very thing it was leading you toward. Stillness, deep stillness, and in this stillness you may notice something very subtle. Even the idea of you feels quieter now, less defined, less separate, more like a soft presence, floating, resting, drifting, without effort, without direction, without needing to be anywhere else. And as that soft presence deepens, your entire body continues its natural process of release, not step by step anymore, but all at once, like a final wave moving through every part of you and leaving only ease behind. Your forehead is smooth, your eyes are heavy, your jaw is soft, your neck is relaxed, your shoulders have dropped completely, your arms feel weightless, your hands are still, your chest is calm, your stomach is quiet, your back is supported, your hips are settled, your legs are heavy, your feet are resting. Every part of you is now in agreement that it is safe to let go completely, and in that complete letting go, something beautiful happens. You are no longer falling asleep, you are becoming sleep, not entering it, but merging with it, like water returning to water, like silence returning to silence, like stillness returning to stillness. And there is nothing to resist, nothing to control, nothing to maintain, only the gentle continuation of deeper and deeper rest. And even the sound of these words begins to fade now, not because they stop, but because your awareness is moving beyond them into a quieter layer, where sound no longer feels separate, only softness remains, only calm remains, only drifting remains. And in this drifting, your mind no longer tries to follow anything. It no longer needs to understand, no longer needs to track, no longer needs to stay alert. It simply rests like everything else. And now you may begin to notice that sleep is no longer something approaching you. It is already here, softly surrounding you, gently holding you, pulling you deeper, without force, without effort, just natural descent into rest. And you don't need to complete this journey, because there is nothing left to complete. You don't need to finish anything, because everything is already finished. And now there is only letting go further and further and further into quietness, into softness, into stillness, where thoughts no longer form clearly, where sensations fade gently, where awareness becomes light and soft and distant, like a dream beginning before sleep fully arrives. And in that space, you are safe, you are supported, you are deeply at ease, and nothing can disturb this calm. Nothing needs to change it. Nothing needs to interrupt it, because this calm is already complete. And as you remain here, you may feel yourself drifting beyond language now, beyond meaning, beyond structure, beyond thought, into pure rest, pure stillness, pure letting go. And sleep is now taking over completely, not suddenly, but gently, inevitably, like a soft closing of awareness, like a final exhale that never needs to be followed by another inhale. Just drifting, just fading, just resting, as everything now carries you into deep, restorative, peaceful sleep. And now there is nothing left to guide, nothing left to follow, nothing left to understand, only the quiet, soft, natural continuation of letting go. And as you rest here, you may notice that even awareness itself is beginning to drift further away, not disappearing, but becoming distant, like a soft glow, slowly fading into the background of sleep. And that is perfectly okay, because there is nothing you need to hold on to anymore, nothing you need to stay aware of, nothing you need to maintain, only rest, deep rest. And in this rest, your body continues to do what it knows best. It softens further, it settles further. It releases even the last traces of holding, without effort, without direction, without resistance. And you may notice now that thoughts are no longer forming clearly. They are becoming fragments, then fading, then dissolving, until there is only space and softness and stillness. And in that stillness, something very important is happening. You are no longer transitioning into sleep. You are already in the beginning of it, that quiet in-between place where everything slows down, where everything becomes gentle, where everything becomes light, and nothing is required of you anymore. And as you remain here, you might feel your breath becoming even softer, almost invisible, as if your body is breathing itself, without your awareness, without your effort, just natural rhythm, just quiet flow, just rest unfolding on its own. And your body knows it is safe now, completely safe, safe to stop scanning, safe to stop holding, safe to stop staying alert, safe to fully let go. And in that safety, sleep becomes deeper, not approached, but entered, not forced, but allowed. And now even these words are beginning to fade into distance, becoming softer, slower, more like echoes inside a dream that is already beginning to form. And you don't need to listen anymore, because your mind has already started to drift away from listening, into resting, into fading, into sleep. And so now there is nothing more to do, nothing more to follow, nothing more to hold. Only this gentle fading, this soft descent, this natural drifting. As sleep fully takes over, completely, peacefully, and effortlessly, and you continue to drift deeper and deeper and deeper into rest. And now you are no longer moving towards sleep. You are simply resting inside it, completely, naturally, without effort. And as you remain here, everything continues to slow down even further, not because you are doing anything, but because there is nothing left to do. Your body has already released what it needed to release. Your mind has already softened into quiet, and your awareness has already begun to drift beyond focus into pure rest. And in this rest, there is no direction left, no goal, no expectation, only stillness, deep stillness. And that stillness begins to hold you now, gently, like a soft space that surrounds you from every side, supporting you, holding you, keeping you safe as you drift even deeper. And you may notice that even the sense of listening is fading now. Words are becoming distant, less important, less defined, as your mind naturally lets go of following them. And that is perfectly okay, because you do not need to follow anymore. You only need to rest. And as you rest, your breathing continues softly on its own, steady, quiet, natural, like a gentle rhythm in the background of sleep, not requiring attention, not requiring control, just happening on its own. And your body continues to feel heavier, not in a way that weighs you down, but in a way that supports you completely, as if you are being held by something deeper than gravity itself, something calm, something safe, something steady, that allows you to let go even further. And in that letting go, thoughts are now almost completely gone. Or if they appear, they are soft, distant, without structure, without meaning, passing like shadows in a faraway space, never reaching you, never disturbing you, just fading gently, naturally, into silence. And that silence is becoming your experience now. Not empty silence, but full silence, the kind that feels like peace, the kind that feels like safety, the kind that feels like home. And as you rest inside that silence, your entire system continues to deepen its reset, layer by layer, wave by wave, until there is nothing left but calm, pure calm. And you don't need to stay aware of it, because even awareness is now resting, softly, quietly, completely. And now there is nothing left to guide you, nothing left to hold your attention, nothing left to follow. Only drifting, only fading, only resting, as sleep fully takes over now, gently, completely, and effortlessly. And you continue to sink deeper and deeper and deeper into peaceful sleep. And now there is nothing left to reach, nothing left to hold, nothing left to follow, because you are already here in the deepest layer of rest. And as you remain here, everything continues to soften even further, not because anything is being done, but because everything has already been allowed. Your body is no longer transitioning. It has already arrived, fully, completely, naturally. And now, even the sense of you begins to feel softer, less defined, less active, more like quiet presence, resting inside stillness, without effort, without direction, without resistance. And in that stillness, there is no need to listen anymore, no need to focus, no need to follow words, because even attention itself is beginning to drift away. Slowly, softly, like a light dimming at the edge of sleep, fading gently into background calm. And your breath continues, but it no longer feels observed. It no longer feels separate. It simply moves on its own, like a quiet rhythm of life continuing in the distance, steady, soft, unimportant to track, only present enough to support rest, and your body remains completely supported now, held by the surface beneath you, held by gravity, held by stillness, held by the natural safety of this moment. Nothing needs to be adjusted. Nothing needs to be corrected. Nothing needs to be maintained. Only rest, deep rest. And as that rest deepens, thoughts are now almost entirely gone. Or if they appear, they do not hold shape. They do not carry weight. They dissolve before they form fully, like mist disappearing into quiet air, without impact, without interruption, without pulling you back. And this is important now. You are no longer in transition. You are in sleep, not partial sleep, not near sleep, but full immersion into sleep state. And everything within you understands that now. Your body understands, your mind understands, your awareness understands, and so everything lets go completely, softly, naturally, effortlessly. And as you remain here, there is only drifting now, no direction, no control, no expectation, only gentle fading into deeper and deeper stillness, where everything becomes quiet, everything becomes soft, everything becomes calm, and nothing needs to continue. And even these words begin to lose meaning now, becoming distant, becoming background, becoming part of the silence itself, as your mind moves beyond them into pure rest, pure stillness, pure sleep. And now there is nothing left to guide, nothing left to follow, nothing left to do. Only this soft continuation of fading awareness as you drift deeper and deeper and deeper into peaceful, uninterrupted sleep. And now there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to listen for, nothing left to hold in awareness, because everything has already softened, everything has already released, everything has already let go. And as you remain here, you are no longer moving deeper, you are simply staying in deep rest, where nothing needs to change anymore. And that is why everything feels so still now, so quiet, so natural, as if even thinking itself has slowed down and drifted far away into something distant and unimportant, and your body continues to rest, fully supported, fully safe, fully at ease, with no part of you needing to stay alert anymore. And your breath continues on its own, soft, steady, barely noticeable, like a quiet background rhythm of calm that no longer requires attention. And that is perfectly okay, because you do not need to notice it anymore. You only need to rest. And as you rest, everything continues to fade gently. Thoughts fade, sensation softens, awareness becomes quieter, until there is only stillness left, deep stillness, warm stillness, safe stillness. And in that stillness, nothing reaches you anymore, nothing disturbs you anymore, nothing pulls you back. And now, even the idea of listening is gone. Even the idea of following is gone. Even the idea of being aware is gone, because all of that has dissolved, softly, completely, naturally, into sleep. And what remains now is only drifting, only resting, only fading, deeper and deeper and deeper into peaceful, unconscious calm, where nothing needs to happen and nothing will interrupt you, as sleep now fully takes over, completely, effortlessly, and you continue to rest, fully, deeply, and quietly. And now there is nothing left to do, nothing left to follow, nothing left to understand, because everything has already settled completely, naturally and quietly, and as you remain here, you may not even notice the passing of time anymore, because time itself is becoming less important, less structured, less present, as your mind continues to drift deeper into stillness, and that stillness is holding you now, gently, softly, without effort, keeping everything calm, keeping everything quiet, keeping everything at rest, and your body continues to rest deeply, fully supported, fully safe, fully relaxed, with no part of you needing to hold on anymore. And your breath continues, but it does not need attention. It does not need awareness. It simply flows softly on its own, like a distant rhythm of calm that carries you even deeper into sleep. And you may notice now that even thoughts are no longer forming clearly. They are fading before they appear, dissolving into silence, without effort, without resistance, without return. And that silence is becoming everything now, not empty, but full, full of calm, full of ease, full of deep rest. And as you stay here, you are no longer drifting into sleep. You are already inside it, completely immersed, completely held, completely at rest. And nothing needs to change that. Nothing needs to interrupt that. Nothing needs to guide that. Because sleep is already here, fully present, fully active, and fully holding you. And now, even awareness itself begins to fade further, becoming softer, quieter, more distant, like a gentle light slowly dimming, until only stillness remains. And in that stillness, there is no direction, no effort, no control, only rest, deep rest, natural rest, the kind of rest that continues on its own, without interruption, without instruction, without resistance. And as you remain here, everything continues to soften even further. Thoughts dissolve, body relaxes deeper, breathing becomes quieter, and awareness fades gently into the background of sleep. And now there is nothing left to hold on to at all. Only this soft drifting, this quiet fading, this deep, peaceful stillness. As sleep continues to take you, gently, completely, and effortlessly, deeper and deeper and deeper. And now there is nothing left to return to, nothing left to think about, nothing left to follow, because everything has already dissolved into stillness. And as you remain here, you may notice that even awareness itself feels distant now, like a soft echo, fading further, slipping quietly into the background of sleep. And that is perfectly okay, because there is nothing you need to hold anymore, nothing you need to maintain, nothing you need to understand. Only rest, deep rest, and your body continues to rest now, completely supported, completely safe, completely still, as every muscle softens further, without instruction, without effort, without awareness, and your breath continues gently, but it no longer belongs to effort. It no longer belongs to control. It simply flows quietly, like a soft rhythm in the background of sleep, steady, natural, unimportant to track. And you don't need to track it. You only need to rest. And as you rest, thoughts continue to fade, not stopping, not resisting, just dissolving before they fully form, like mist disappearing into quiet air, leaving no trace, no pull, no return. And in that fading, stillness becomes deeper, not empty stillness, but full stillness, the kind that feels safe, the kind that feels soft, the kind that feels like everything is exactly as it should be. And as that stillness deepens, your sense of self begins to soften too, becoming less defined, less active, less separate, until there is only quiet presence, resting inside rest, without effort, without direction, without awareness of needing anything at all. And now, even the idea of listening is fading away, because your mind no longer needs to follow words. It only needs to drift, and that drifting is already happening, softly, gently, naturally, into deeper layers of sleep. And everything within you understands this now. There is nowhere else to go, nothing else to reach, nothing else to become. Only this quiet continuation of letting go. And as you continue to let go, your body sinks even deeper into comfort. Your mind becomes quieter than before, and your awareness fades gently into background calm, where nothing interrupts you anymore, and nothing pulls you back. And now, sleep is no longer approaching. It is fully here, holding you, surrounding you, becoming you. As everything slows, everything softens, everything quiets into deep, uninterrupted rest, and you continue to drift deeper and deeper and deeper into silence, into calm, into sleep. And now there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to notice, nothing left to hold in awareness, because everything has already softened completely and settled into deep rest. And as you remain here, you may not even feel the passage of time anymore, because time itself is fading, becoming unimportant, becoming distant, as sleep continues to hold you gently, without interruption, without effort, without resistance, and your body continues to rest deeply now, fully supported, fully safe, fully relaxed, with no part of you needing to stay active anymore, and your breathing continues softly, without direction, without control, just a quiet rhythm of life in the background, steady, natural, almost unnoticeable, as it carries you even deeper into calm. And you don't need to notice it anymore, because everything is already happening on its own, and your thoughts continue to fade now, not forming clearly, not holding shape, just dissolving softly before they can fully appear, leaving only silence behind. And that silence is becoming your experience now, not empty, but full of ease, full of calm, full of deep, uninterrupted rest. And as you remain here, you are no longer drifting towards sleep. You are already inside it, fully immersed, fully surrounded, fully held, and nothing needs to change that. Nothing needs to guide that. Nothing needs to interrupt that, because sleep is already complete here. And as that completion settles deeper, even awareness begins to soften further, becoming less present, less structured, less defined, until there is only quiet being, resting inside stillness, without effort, without direction, without thought. And now even the sense of listening is fading, because your mind no longer needs to follow anything. It only needs to rest, and that rest is already happening, softly, naturally, completely, without interruption. And everything continues to slow, everything continues to soften, everything continues to dissolve into deeper calm. As your body relaxes further, your mind quiets further, and your awareness fades gently into the background of sleep. And now there is nothing left to hold on to, only drifting, only fading, only resting, as sleep continues to carry you deeper and deeper and deeper into peaceful stillness. And now there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to think about, nothing left to hold, because everything has already dissolved into deep stillness. And as you remain here, you may notice that even awareness itself feels far away now, soft, quiet, barely present, like a distant echo fading into silence. And that is perfectly okay, because there is nothing you need to bring back, nothing you need to remember, nothing you need to do, only rest, deep rest, and your body continues to rest now, fully supported, fully safe, fully still, as every part of you softens even further, without effort, without awareness, without resistance, and your breathing continues gently. But it no longer needs observation, it no longer needs attention. It simply flows quietly on its own, like a soft background rhythm of calm, steady, natural, unimportant to follow. And you don't need to follow it anymore, because everything is already happening exactly as it should. And your thoughts continue to fade, not forming clearly, not staying present, just dissolving before they fully appear, like mist disappearing into quiet air, leaving only silence behind. And that silence is becoming deeper now. Not empty silence, but full silence, the kind that feels safe, the kind that feels warm, the kind that feels like nothing is missing. And as that silence deepens, you are no longer transitioning into sleep. You are already within it, completely immersed, completely surrounded, completely held, and nothing needs to change that. Nothing needs to interrupt that. Nothing needs to guide that, because sleep is already fully present now. And as that presence settles deeper, even awareness begins to soften further, becoming less defined, less active, less noticeable, until there is only quiet being, resting inside stillness, without effort, without direction, without thought. And now, even the idea of listening is fading away, because your mind no longer needs to follow anything. It only needs to rest, and that rest is already happening, softly, naturally, completely, without interruption. And everything continues to slow, everything continues to soften, everything continues to dissolve into deeper calm. As your body relaxes further, your mind quiets further, and your awareness fades gently into the background of sleep. And now, there is nothing left to hold on to, only drifting, only fading, only resting, as sleep continues to carry you deeper and deeper and deeper into peaceful stillness. And now, there is nothing left to follow, nothing left to listen for, nothing left to hold in awareness, because everything has already softened completely and settled into deep, uninterrupted rest. And as you remain here, you may notice that even awareness itself feels almost gone now, soft, distant, like a quiet echo fading further and further away, until it no longer needs to be noticed at all. And that is perfectly okay, because there is nothing you need to bring back, nothing you need to continue, nothing you need to do, only rest, deep rest, and your body continues to rest now, fully supported, fully safe, fully still, as every muscle softens further, without effort, without awareness, without resistance, and your breathing continues gently, but it no longer belongs to attention. It no longer belongs to effort. It simply flows quietly on its own, like a soft background rhythm of calm, steady, natural, almost disappearing into silence, and you don't need to follow anymore, because everything is already exactly as it should be. And your thoughts continue to fade now, not forming, not holding, not returning, just dissolving before they can fully appear, like mist disappearing into still air, leaving only quiet behind. And that quiet is becoming everything now, not empty, but full, full of ease, full of softness, full of deep, peaceful stillness. And as you remain here, you are no longer moving into sleep. You are already inside it, completely immersed, completely held, completely at rest. And nothing needs to change that. Nothing needs to interrupt that. Nothing needs to guide that. Because sleep is already fully here now, and as that presence deepens, even awareness begins to fade further, becoming less defined, less active, less noticeable, until there is only quiet being, resting inside stillness, without effort, without direction, without thought. And now even the idea of listening is gone, because your mind no longer needs to follow anything. It only needs to rest, and that rest is already happening, softly, naturally, completely, without interruption. And everything continues to slow. Everything continues to soften. Everything continues to dissolve into deeper calm. As your body relaxes further, your mind becomes quieter, and your awareness fades gently into the background of sleep. And now there is nothing left to hold on to, only drifting, only fading, only resting. As sleep continues to carry you deeper, deeper, still there is only silence, only stillness, only sleep. And even these final words fade softly away as you drift completely into deep, peaceful rest. And as you continue to drift deeper into rest, there is nothing more you need to do right now, nothing more you need to follow. Just allow yourself to stay here, in this calm, in this quiet, in this safe space. And if this kind of peaceful sleep journey has supported you, you are always welcome here, whenever you need rest, whenever your mind feels full. Whenever sleep feels far away, you can simply return to this space again. And if you'd like to stay connected for more gentle sleep journeys like this, you can subscribe to this channel when you feel ready. So these calm, peaceful moments can always be here waiting for you, whenever you need them. But for now, there is nothing else to do, only rest, only drift, only sleep, and let everything else fade softly away. Eyes softly away, and let